Yeah, there was just some plays that he stuck out where I didn't mess up. I didn't get beat, but he just wants the standard to be higher, I think, across the board because the competition only gets better from here on out. And so I think that's him trying to prove a point to me. Hey, you can do better, so I want to see better. I think if he thought that was the best I had, then I probably would have graded out better. But and I know I could probably strain harder, I guess. And it's just little things. I guess some rust wearing off from going against our own guys all summer. But yeah, he just kind of said, hey, you're not doing anything wrong, but I want to see more. So that's kind of what he's talking about there.
I think you mentioned finishing. How do you finish a block? What does he want you to? What does that look like when you do that to his satisfaction?
Staying between your man and the ball at all times. Kind of like basketball, I guess, how they always say. Stay between your guy and the hoop. And that's what he's talking about. So that's kind of something all five guys have to kind of learn and do more throughout the game.
With that being the first game, what did you think about the communication?
Communication was fine. It's just all about execution. And when you have a starter go down who's started for the past 2 years, it's just different communicating-wise. And now, the left side of the line has to do a better job. Whereas almost with Landon, we just look at each other and be like, okay, that's what we're doing. So they were embracing it, EJ and Nasir, and it's our job to help them out with that.
How do you think those two guys did overall in their first games?
They did good. They did some good. They did some bad. The good thing about how they played was they didn't just get physically beat a lot. They just got kind of, they forgot to do this. They, did this the wrong way. It was just stuff you can fix going through reps. None of them got driven 5 yards in the backfield and thrown on their butt. You know what I mean? They played well. They just have to be better mentally.
I think most players on this team would like to be the team that broke that streak against Florida, but being a Kentucky guy, does it mean a little bit more to you?
Oh, absolutely. I didn't realize there was a streak until I was a little bit older, and I think it's just like something that just holds the reputation back. Kentucky can't go 10-2 because they've lost 32 straight games, or what? I don't even know what it is. I think once you get that thrown away, just kind of like how we do with Tennessee, we kind of threw that streak away, that whatever it was. And if we beat that Florida streak, then I think that it'll just be like they can't hang that over our head anymore.
Coach Schlarman said you kind of bring a calming presence to the offense. Is that something you consciously have to do, or is it just kind of how you've always
Who said I do?
Yes.
And yeah, that's kind of the center's job. When that's something that Toth was good at. When the defense throws all this crazy stuff at you, and your guards and tackles might be like, oh boy, what are we doing? And then if your center is able to just say, hey, you go here, there. Yeah, it brings a calming presence. Because the less you have to think, the easier the game is. And if one guy can do the thinking for you, I think it makes everybody's job a lot easier.
And when you see Florida's defensive line, what kind of stands out?
Well, I think something that I've watched kind of Florida's reputation, at least since I've been in college and have watched them, is they are very active up front, their front seven. They've always got a first rounder up there somewhere. And they're just so athletic and they're in the right spot. They just move around a lot. I know the defensive coordinator did the same thing with his guys at Mississippi State. He just has those athletic bodies, just those SEC defensive front seven guys that you see at every school. And he does a good job of just moving them and creating holes or just kind of collapsing holes. And that's something that we have to do a good job of recognizing and, beating, I guess.
For games like this one at Florida in the SEC, one of the reasons why you chose to come to Kentucky, other than being from here, but
yeah, well, that's the stuff you grow up. You make popcorn, in the kitchen, and you all sit down as a family and watch the game, at nighttime, because your parents let you stay up, stuff like that. So I'm excited. I'm glad it's a night game at a stadium like that, because that's something you don't get to experience a lot. Being in that environment, playing on the field, Yeah, that's absolutely something you dream of as a kid.
Seeing Benny make that play where he kind of like hurdled in between the guys and stuff. When you see somebody do something like that, does that make sure you get a block every time because you know if he can get past you guys, there's a chance he's going to take it to the house?
I don't know. I don't know. I've never seen anybody do that move. I think he does that on purpose because they try to hit him low, so he just jump. I don't know what he does. It's crazy because he's done it a couple times. It's fun to watch. So yeah, it motivates you to block those guys because, and Coach Schlarman says, okay, if we can block these guys, the safety's free. Benny will make a miss. And we're like, okay, you say that every time, but then it happens and he makes 2 safeties miss. Yeah, it's fun to watch and it's fun to play. It's fun to block for.
Is there a rowdy place that you played in last season that can kind of get you prepared for this one?
Yeah, I didn't play on offense against South Carolina, but that place was crazy. And then Georgia was really loud, but kind of that nighttime environment. South Carolina, I think that was like a 7:30 game too last year. Game 2, right? Yeah. So kind of the same situation we're going into.
What does your position kind of require of you?
I have to do a better job communicating. When you're at home and stuff changes, you can sit there and you can just say it. You know, you got a mouthpiece in, you're sitting there, you might be a little out of breath, whatever, because you're 5 or 6 plays in, you can just say it. But now you have to yell it and you have to be loud, and it just kind of changes everything a little bit. I noticed that when we played Georgia last year, they were loud, and it just makes everything a little bit harder. You just have to yell more, and it takes more breath out of you, whatever, stuff like that.
Are you all using that Florida game from last year as motivation for this year?
Yes and no. We have in the situational stuff we have in the past, like, hey, you know, in a late game situation, this is how we have to execute something. But everybody knows that we need to go out and win this game, and we're worried about ourselves more than we are about them. We're not worried about, you know, watching that game to motivate us. We know we're already motivated to go out there and play and beat them because everybody knows about the streak. Everybody knows about that stuff.
There's a little more talk on their end of things, at least early in this week than usual. Do you think you guys have kind of got their attention?
Yeah, I think you could say that, but we know that talking trash doesn't win you a game. It doesn't lose you a game. Really, the only thing that can come out of it, no one's going to come up and pat you on the back after the game if you said, hey, we're going to win this game. You don't get attention for that. You can only get negative attention if you lose that game. So, I mean, none of our guys know not to say anything like that. You know, no matter who we're playing. When I